She makes that smile, yeah, she's got that style that makes you think she's made out of gold. She's turning up the volume on the radio. Yeah. I'm gonna make it worth your while. I'm gonna make it worth your time.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Caerwyn Stables. In today's video we're going to be talking about what my horses are fed, what they eat, when, how much, how many times a day, etc. So for that we're going to do a kind of like typical day in my life of my horse's feed. So everything starts at 7 a.m, 7:15 about. So when I go and feed my horses for the first time, so that's their breakfast, they have a full meal. I'll show you all the quantities afterwards of what I give them exactly. Then I try in the morning to ride all the horses that need to be ridden so that they can all go in the paddock as quickly as possible. So I try and finish at around like 10 a.m. to have ridden everyone. So they go all out in their paddock one by one, and they're on grass all day. And Envie and Game also have a big bale of hay that they have in their paddocks that they can eat at it all day whenever they want. And then in the evening my horses in the winter eat 3 times a day versus in the summer when they eat twice a day. So in the winter they come in a bit earlier than they do in the summer, so they come in around 6:30 p.m. and that's when they have their first meal of the evening. And then a bit of time goes by, so if you've seen my vlog night routine you would know this, but I come back and I feed them at 10 p.m. for their last ration of the day. So fractioning rations is good for horses' guts and just their health in general. Not giving them too big quantities at the same time is better for their digestive system and everything. And obviously they also have hay, so I'm going to show you the quantities that I give them in hay. So I usually distribute the hay at the end of the morning when I finish just cleaning up the stables and everything. So here are some speed up videos of what I do in the morning. So I often do start with riding. So this morning we were starting with Enriching. So I just groomed him up, tacked him up and everything, whilst my mum does the boxes. So what we do is that we usually separate work in two. So I prepare the horses and I look after them, put them out and everything, while she does the boxes, and I do often help her finish at the end. So that is pretty often what we do regularly. So here is Enriching that has finished riding. He was very good, so I exchange him for Envie. And once I finish riding all the horses and we're at the end of the morning, I go and get the hay. So we have a bale of hay on the other side of the stable, so I have to go and get it with a wheelbarrow. So I try and get as much hay as I can in the wheelbarrow. And I'm going to start here with Envie's box. So Envie has this kind of cool like corner thing where I can put all the hay in, which is really practical. It means that she doesn't put hay everywhere in her box, and we don't have to throw hay away in the morning because it's dirty or anything, and we can still put lots of hay in, so that's great. So Envie and Game Boy, they have enough hay for the whole night, so the goal is that they have still a bit of hay at the end. So in the mornings that they still have a bit of hay in their box, which means that they will have been able to munch on hay all night, and so they won't have any time when they're not eating anything, so that's better for their stomachs and also their weight balance. And then we go on to Enriching and Envie, who don't need as much hay because they are a little bit more on the fat side. So it's true we are careful because Enriching was a pony, so obviously he gets a little bit too overweight more quickly than the big horses, so we give him a smaller quantity, and then Envie has a normal quantity. So now let's get on to the food, so the concentrated food, and I have 2 types of food, one mix like this and then nuts, and they are both from the brand Lambert, and this is premium for sport horses, so the mix right here. So they have 1 litre of that, Game Boy and Envie. And now we're going to go on to nuts, and so Envie and Game Boy each get 1 litre, Envie gets a little bit less than 2 litres, and Enriching gets 1 litre. The quantities and type of feed for each horse really depends on their physical activity, their size, if they're a pony or a horse, how, fat they can get, how quickly and stuff, and if they have to gain weight, lose weight, balance that weight. It's like a fine balance in trying to get the right quantities for each horse, which is why they get different types of feed at different times and in different quantities. And finally, I'm going to add some fiber. I'm going to add that to Enriching, Envie and Game Boy's buckets. Envie does not like fibre. I don't really know why, because the others all love it, but she just doesn't really like it as much. I mean, she will eat it, but I can see that she doesn't really like it, so I don't give her any, because it's really just something, you know, for the horses who like it. And so then I go on to supplements. So they have vitamin E and selenium. So that's for muscle protection and also muscle development. So very good whilst we are in the winter training, just to build up their muscle and their stamina before the season starts. And finally, they have oil. So this is omega oil, and this is very good for just general health and nice coats and just nice. And they also love the taste. They absolutely go crazy about this. So this is just a really good supplement. And once the feeds are made and mixed, it's time to distribute them. So Envie always eats first. She has the first box, and she's also top of the pecking order. So she's always the first one to eat. Then we're going to go on to Game Boy, who's always a little bit impatient about food. So here you can see his food grumpness. Okay, Dukes is always waiting around in case I leave him a few scraps. I usually do, although I forgot that night. Poor chap, I kind of just went past him. And then finally, Edition and Eviga get their feed.
You are my pill, I swallow it. Take me away to Neverland, where colors fade my disbelief and make me forget my memories. Rent a car you can't.
And then around 10 p.m. we're going down to the stables for the last time of the day to feed the horses. So the reason I do fractioned feeding is because it's better for their digestive system. Horses are supposed to eat small quantities often because their digestive system isn't actually that big, so it can't cope with too much at once, which is why we feed them often and why they always have hay at night for the whole night and why they eat grass all day, because their digestive system is supposed to be working all the time, non-stop nearly, so they have very little time where they're not eating. That's just how they work and how they're better. This prevents ulcers and everything. And anyway, I hope you like this video, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!
She makes that smile, yeah, she's got that style that makes you think she's made out of gold. She's turning up the volume on the radio.